Alrighty. Hey, Angra. Hey, Angra, you ready?
Yes. Yeah.
You fucking ready, man?
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, man. Nervous?
A lot.
Excited? Ready to fucking
Extremely.
die? You can't
I
die.
can't
because
die.
You're already dead. Oh, you're invincible.
0 risks, baby.
0 risks. You could lose nothing from this.
Let's go.
Oh, right. Okay. So, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna hop straight in with this, okay? So, all right. Let me just get one last thing up and running, and we're in it. Yeah?
Why am I so nervous?
I don't know. I'm asking myself that question too. Giddy beyond belief, but we'll do fine. So, Anga.
Yes.
Let me ask you a dumb question.
Go ahead.
Does a symbol have true value? Obviously it does. A symbol in its very nature is something that provides remembrance and meaning. A letter brings to mind a sound. A post sign brings to mind a law. The very nature of a symbol is what meaning they have. A symbol is an important part of our understanding of the world. This is all true, and yet the arguments of symbols' values are highly debated amongst our society. For example, let's take the world's most important symbol, money. Money is a representation of worth. It is a symbol used to represent value that simplifies our daily lives. When money becomes unjust, it is because value is skewed. Many people make a living around controlling the value of this symbol, and many others seek to accumulate this symbol for the value those people set. We argue how much value the symbol of money has frequently. In the same vein, a symbol's value is arguable. We can only perceive it as true when the thing it represents is within sight, after all. Money represents gold, which represents buying food, survival, and leisure. And yet, in this way, symbols are fabrications. They are perversions of reality that bend to allow untrue understanding of our world and surroundings, and our grasp of it. And yet, in J City, a future symbol makes landing on a helipad. Landing down and off, you unload out of your helicopter and see in front of you a single individual, shadowed in the night, the lights burning all around. And you take steps forward as, moving on, you finally move into J City, the new place where, well, you will make your home. And as you move on, at this point of time, you exist quite as real as any other man. At some point, at some day, that existence will end. But even with that being true, even without any reason, even without anything to tie to, the Nang, the name of Yang Sun Yun, that symbol will remain. All right. Yang.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. So, you find your way moving into a nice apartment building, actually. And are you on the map? Good. Cool. So, it's only been probably a couple of months since the incident with the Triad occurred. You were dragged in, pulled out, and brought all the way across the world to a brand new country. Well, sort of. While you are located in America, JamiroCorp in itself is something of its own country. It has extraterritorial rights of its surroundings. Most of it is owned and controlled directly by JamiroCorp. And the man in front of you, one Mr. Magpie, is someone from within JamiroCorp, a representative that has come to offer you a stay on his behalf. He's led you on inside, and his guards kind of waiting outside, continues to bring himself in. Feel free to keep your shoes on. That's not a problem. He moves up, puts a key card up to his inner door, and it pops open, and he steps on through. He kind of looks around, gestures. Make yourself at home, bud. No need to be so shy. After all, we're friends now, you and me. He steps back a bit, kind of leans on the pool table a bit, and just kind of... So, tell me about your little bit about yourself now, Yang. How's it been in the city? Everything adjust? You and that sweet sister of yours?
His eyes narrow for a second, peering into this man's soul.
You see that same kind of smile just on his face as he kind of like reaches over to the side, pulls out a pool ball. Okay, all right, I get it. Not one for conversation at work, huh? Well, that's fine. You gotta understand, poor guys like me don't got too many real friends, so co-worker conversation's how I spend my time, besides my own little hobbies. He flicks the pool ball back onto the table. Besides, just want to get to know my new co-worker. You and I have got some business after all. He kind of sits up and scoots a little closer. All right, bud. I'll tell you what. He steps up, kind of looks you up and down. Why don't we open things up with a little TV? That sound good?
Young shrugs.
All right. He starts walking off this way. Okay. You take a look around a bit and just kind of see the surrounding environment that you're in. And yeah, there seems to be a lot of, finery, a lot of really high-end stuff going on here. This is a pretty interesting place.
Poor man, I guess. Yang mutters very quietly to himself as he begins to follow.
He sits down, pops a remote, and turns on a few TVs for you. Got a channel you like a lot? See any of our bullshit news?
I try to keep myself away from politics and stuff like that. It's just too uninteresting.
I'll tell you that much.
It's like a show on repeat. It's a cycle. Always the same bullshit happening over and over again.
Man, I'm telling you that much. Politics, load of crap. Really gets in the way of everything we gotta do, you know? But, I mean, they put on a good show, I'll say that much. Not my kind of show, though, you know? Like, you can appreciate production value of, like, TV and stuff, but hey, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Here, let's check something else out. He clicks on the TV a little bit and kind of, scoots on over to another side little channel. He's got, like, just a news report going. Yeah, nothing as dull as the news, huh? Good opening content. Good opening conversation between new friends, huh? Or, sorry, new coworkers.
Young stays silent, looking at the TVs.
He kind of leans back a bit and just kind of waits there and is just like, man, guess I should have expected this much from a hitman. But, hey, he kind of leans forward a bit. Being unprofessional with me, or being very professional with me, I'm sorry. I can get that. But don't worry. I'm not here to renege or hold the contract we signed above your head. Everything you agreed to, absolutely the same. Gonna make you do some dirty work, some work that only you're capable of doing. Now that doesn't mean that I'm gonna threaten to pull any contracts. We signed a deal, so as long as you pull through, we'll pull through too. Real simple work. Just a hit, you know? Well, a simple hit, but a hard one. I'm sure you're okay with that, though, right? Mm-hmm. He kind of, just, leans back.
The details.
Alrighty. He, reaches into his pack a bit. Hey, Yang, you smoke?
No, sir.
Ah, okay. He puts the smokes to the side a bit, pulls out one, lights it, and starts smoking inside of his room. All right. So, we'll keep this real simple. I need you to do a hit on a pretty big up guy. That okay? You up for hitting someone starting out big leagues right at the beginning?
Of course, nothing different from what I have already done.
Yeah. He takes another huff on it. All right. You know who Stony Brook is?
I think I've heard the name before, but remind me.
Oh, well, that name probably at some point was signed along on your paperwork. That's it's the name of the current CEO of our company. I'm gonna need you to axe him for me. He blows some smoke out from his mouth again. That's acceptable, right?
Of course.
He kind of reaches on over. Ah, that's a good sport. I'm talking. No hesitation. He kind of pats you on the shoulder and then leans on back. Now, obviously, we all have to trust each other's words on this one. You, I, this is a really, well, I could tell you, we didn't get this one signed from the higher ups, if you know what I'm saying. But he kind of just leans back against his couch a little bit. Well, Mr. Brooke has been serving this company for a good couple of years right now. He was the one who took over after the Brandos ended up switching sides. He says that kind of gazing off to the side a little bit, almost nonchalantly.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been doing a really shit job by a lot of people's standards. He served faithfully, loyally, but he really doesn't cut it. And he likes to take his time with a lot of things, a lot of business. Loves to go on vacations, do a bunch of fun, a little enjoying the pleasures of his work sphere, all that stuff. And, more power to him. I mean, if you have it and you don't enjoy it, what's the point of having it either? He kind of finishes up with the cigarette, kind of puts it down. He actually he reaches forward and he pulls the jelly beans off and then puts out the cigarette in the jelly bean bowl. And then he kind of holds them in his hand and just kind of starts chewing on them. How about jelly beans? Like those a bit more?
You could say that.
Wow, got a real grade school assassin over here. He tosses them over at you and they land on the couch. He kind of just
So a classic case of spring cleaning, huh? Out
basically
with the old,
in with the new. See, I'm a pretty, well, I hold about 3% stocks in this company. And I've got a good deal right now with a very specific contact to get my stocks up to 7% ownership, which may not sound too much, but I assure you that's pretty good. I could probably get 3 more apartments like this one, but I'll more likely just do renovations. Invest, He kind of eyes you a bit. And, of course, this is only the deal we have as our part of the bargain for getting you out, but once this dust settles, our new benefactor will be able to take control, and you'll have a wonderful seat by their side, I tell you that much. Now, I'm not saying dumb politics. We just talked about that, right? Yeah, no politics. I hate all that stuff. And it looks like you hate that too, right? But,
yeah.
You're a real strong guy, Yang. Heard all the rumors. Saw the pictures. Not pretty. But this whole thing's not pretty. Yeah, absolutely. Our business isn't pretty. So, well, quite simple. You do some not pretty work for us, and you've got a nice, pretty position doing some more unsavory stuff in the future. But that's all old business. What I think
It's
you'll
my
like the
job.
very new
I'm
side.
here for
Of
that.
course. He kind of stops. Yeah. Sure you're feeling all right? Something worrying you?
Well, I just need more information on the job. What kind of things am I dealing with here? I know the standard security and armed guards are to be expected, but is there anything else?
You notice he kind of looks at you, and in that moment you felt this before, and there's been some unnerving presence. It's been the thing that's caused you to speak very carefully, very assuredly, be very professional. You notice there's this gaze behind him that just seems to pierce through, like he's just smelt blood, and is just like that. It kind of pulls back again, and he smiles at you. Yeah, business. Well, all that stuff's expected, and I'm sure that's all the kind of stuff that's all the stuff I'm not too worried about, but I mean, I'm sure if you're any good assassin, there'd be a question in your mind right now. Why me? Why come get a big high-profile triad target to take out this guy when we probably got plenty of in-housers, Well, that's why we get on the topic of our guy here, Mr. Brook. He's got something real special. My associates tell me it's called a stand. I wouldn't know much about that. He, again, kind of looks at you. That's your specialty. So, in terms of dealing with that, well, that'll all be your market. Because you see, killing him's not the problem. We could have done that weeks ago, months ago. Hell, we could have done it a few days after his assignment. But he made everyone very apparent of what he had that was special. Oh, in fact, tell me again, what's your least favorite news channel? No, actually, no, hang on, I got one. He reaches forward, grabs the remote, and goes forward to one. All right, this one, yeah, there we go. So this is a new station we have that's kind of it's kind of like a controlled opposition, all that stuff, real boring politics stuff. But anyways, you see that guy over there? He points onto the screen, and you see a kind of like middle-aged, balding news anchor that just kind of seems to be there, and you're kind of like, okay, you see him there, and he's like, all right, so I want you to tell me right now, what do you think is the most disgusting part of that guy? Is it his dumb hairline? Is it his, like, disgusting nose? What do you think, man? Come on, let me in on it.
Probably the breath.
Oh, the breath? yeah, sure thing. Hang on. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out his phone, and just kind of starts calling someone. Yeah. Jaw, please. Thank you. He clicks it off, and you keep looking, and
Young smirks.
yeah, you notice very quickly that once that happens, suddenly he kind of holds his fingers up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And in that moment, very suddenly, the feed seems to go off. And then coming back on moments later. All right, now this isn't public, so he comes back on, and you see he's been shot straight through the jaw. A bullet seems to have reverberated out and just gone straight through him. So you see, like, when it comes to killing people, really fast, that took less than a few minutes. I didn't even know what channel I was going to flip to when I did that. They just kind of like, well, I mean, take a look around. He points around his room, and you see plenty of cameras. We got everything seen. We got everything around. It's honestly the easiest goddamn thing we could do. I mean, we got some cleanup, early retirement. Like, takes work, but I mean, I just want to show you. We know what we're doing. We have the power to do it. The thing we don't have the power to do is deal with the consequences of this one Stony Brook. He kind of sits up a bit more. So, I want to tell you bit about your target. He then begins to explain the details of your job. You start learning about the dangers ahead, figuring out what exactly the concern is about this stand, about this president, why they couldn't kill him. And that whole time, you go about it at a rather casual pace. This is just a job after all. Like many others that come before, there's no real attachment to it. Everything you've done is for one purpose or another to, well, survive. Not just for yourself, but for her too. To make sure everyone would get out all right. However, as you go about this job, there would be something slightly different. A new purpose in J City, the beginnings of one. As you set about going on this hit, it would start much like any. And you would find yourself on a rooftop overlooking a JamiroCorp office. Sitting prepared on the roof, you had everything at your disposal. Weapons, otherwise. You even got a few other things on the side from specific handlers that they requested. One very nice one is a very high-tech stealth suit for some degree. Well, if you could call it that. It's more of a tarp laid over you with differing projections on either side that captures the surroundings. Great for sitting still in this exact spot where you sat after planning it out for basically a few weeks. This specific overlook, this specific time when the weather report would read off a raining storm down. You had on your hands a sniper rifle. You waited patiently, overwised, and held yourself firm. Setting stuff up, you prepare to fire as someone steps on through the windows ahead. Moving over, they sit down and a conversation begins. At which point you have to start planning, taking the shot. You account for the wind velocity, account for the distance. Honestly, pretty short. Everything is set up almost too perfectly. Security personnel dispatched, moved around. Plenty of workings on the inside to make everything work exactly as intended. Honestly, this was the easiest job so far. At least, for the assassination part. But this is a job that would have a standing order. A job you would have to deal with for who knows how long. A job that could potentially risk the life of everything you cared for. A job you needed to succeed on. And so you raise the rifle up, preparing to fire. Looking in, you gaze through the back of the head, pulling through the windows, the stealth suit hanging over. You take a breath. You take a breath in and out, in and out, and then in, and that bullet hangs in the air for a moment. It flies through. And years later, someone else stands on the other side. Al, you're overlooking this apartment building. Well, this hotel almost, and an office building, kind of gazing over and seeing everything around you. The rain falls on this day, and, well, oh man, you're in for a whole lot of shit right now.
Shitty weather, shitty day. God fuck.
Your cat kind of looks at you, and you feel a paw press up against your cheek for a moment, and then that paw from emerging a fang pokes into it, and you feel a little bit of blood start pulling down your cheek.
Why? Why do you treat me like this every time?
The cat looks at you with no remorse in its eyes. This elder cat with years of experience on its back. Sometimes you wonder if it just exists to taunt you. The man back here, sir, are you still... Is everything to your findings? I don't really know why you wanted to see this office.
Say, does this place have any story with assassination? I want to know, has anyone died here in the last few years? Give it to me straight. Don't try to dance around the topic.
Well, I won't dance, but I would like some greased palms again. He steps over. Al, during the past few weeks, you got that mysterious correspondence from one archive. An individual you'd never heard of, but you could make a few assumptions. For one, they forwarded a shit ton of money into your account and promised almost tenfold should you complete the job. Most people would jump on that excitedly, but honestly, it just made you more tired. Because, well, when that much money's involved, it's like the soft knife to the back of the neck. And, well, really, you started to piece together the more that you looked into it that wasn't money for you. That was money for the job. Because initially, you stood up, stepped out, and with a good amount of motivation, good amount of almost a laid-back attitude, you just got a bunch of money. You stepped out, solved the job, seemed easy. You tried a backwards route to find one of these mysterious terrorists and their location, and everything blanked. And then you kept looking, and everything ended up dead. Empty trail. Nothing to show for. So, you started looking around a little deeper. You had to find something, and you had to do it more directly this time. You've been crawling around streets for a while now, and eventually you got the name Yang. There was some sort of reported incident in the sewers where that name was mentioned. And from that point on, you've been sort of curious. So many names seem to have been blanked out, yet Yang seems to have been both so apparent, yet so hard to pin down. So, you found a bit of information about this place where apparently an assassination went down around the time he was believed to arrive at the city. You had a hunch, so you came here, but unfortunately, as, well, expected, all sorts of evidence from that long ago has vanished. You paid this guy a good hefty sum to get inside, a small little bribe to just get in the door. And after he steps up, you give him a little more, and, well, the way seems open again. The evidence trail continues. Yes,
Al reaches into his pocket, puts a cigarette in his mouth, lights it. I hate chasing ghosts. Okay? Tell me.
All right. Steward, noticing you smoking again, kind of seems to move his hand a bit and start pawing at your cigarette, and I imagine with almost
I will
grace.
Put it out on you.
Stewart seems to stop. Or Steven seems to stop. You're Stewart.
Yes,
I get so confused. I get so confused about
Too
that.
many S's.
Too many S's, goddamn it.
The human is all Stewart. The cat is Stevens.
So yeah, Steven's kind of rests again on your shoulder, looking around the room a little bit. And then Stewart seems to hop off your shoulder and just kind of starts looking around in different areas. He just sort of crawls up, kind of sits in between the holographic display. The other guy kind of looking, but redirecting back to you. Well, yes, there was a rather nasty assassination that happened about a year ago. Previous CEO got axed pretty hard. Well, it's all a cleaned up affair. In fact, Avix itself has moved into the building across the way. It's quite simple, really. Everything's a lot safer here now, but yes, there was an assassination of previous CEO Stony Brook, unfortunately. Now, after all, if you wanted any more, I don't know if how the assassination details went, but would that be something you'd want to go to the authorities for?
That's none of your concern.
You know what? It isn't. He holds up his hands.
All turns away, looks at the glass, looks across, and just starts making calculations in his head.
You do that. you kind of start thinking about it a little more, and you're like, all right, so it is a perfect location. You think about the best areas he could probably be to take the shot, and you realize he was probably on the roof. Yeah, that much makes sense. You think a roof with a good setup, but if he's on the roof, how did he get away? You start to consider that a little bit. One solution would be that he could potentially get a bit far down the building without being spotted, but at some point, that would have to end, and he would have to be discovered. So, you gaze across at that building, and you start to repair in your brain, starting to consider where the crime scene is. And then Stevens lands back on your shoulder. You feel the claws gripping into your suit again as again, he just kind of stares out across the building. You're snapped back a bit.
Layer isn't enough.
You snap back a bit. Well, you can think about it a lot. And you will. But going across the way is probably the best way. Gate's open.
Indeed.
And you're sure that even with that, if this assassin had a bit of a troublesome escape, they probably just tried to cover up. They may have never actually done an extensive research, if this is a setup at least. So, well, only way to figure out if there's any missing links is to head there yourself. And so you do. Well, you kind of look to your side, continue smoking a little bit, and the man seems to kind of approach up a little bit. I could perhaps show you the spot where he was if you just greased up a little bit more. You don't need his help. You know exactly where to go.
There's no need. Thank you for the help you provided already. I'm good.
Oh, all right. Excellent. Thank you, too. Have a wonderful day. You end up stepping out, and I have a question for you. When no one else is around, does Al talk to Stevens when he's thinking about stuff, or is he just be quiet with them, Stevens? What do you consider Steven in your relationship?
Al talks out loud so that the cat can follow his train of thought.
Gotcha.
The cat is his partner.
So, with that in mind, you ended up investigating around the building. I'll ping you. And at a certain point, you started finding your way around. You asked around a little bit, but generally kept yourself just kind of subdued. Didn't really talk too big about your purposes. You kind of stepped in the elevator a bit, and you just had a hunch about something. You go over to the side and okay, it might be wise to check the elevator, but you don't want to get crushed by the elevator. So you go in and you tamper a bit with this control panel, and make me a brains roll here. First roll.
Okay. How do I do rolls again?
All right.
How does this system work
for
again?
the brains roll, here's the first roll. Brains roll, any character roll, you just roll 1d6 plus your attribute there, or your character skill. So you got yourself brains, it'd be 1d6 plus 5, I think, because Al's a smart boy.
And I do believe I have a trait regarding investigation.
I think so, yeah.
I do have another plus 5.
Nice. You peek in a bit and start trying to sort out what exactly is happening here. And you're like, all right, so they're obviously cleaned up everything here. This is a hunch, but you kind of look around at the way this elevator is assembled, and you're like, all right, let's see. Okay. Yeah, this elevator, it's very important. You end up stopping the elevator a bit. Oh yeah, what were you gonna say?
Just what it is, there's something weird here. Lights another cigarette.
You light another cigarette. You see the no cigarette sign. You ignore it though. You stop the elevator and you're like, okay, what is it about the elevator? You're like, Okay. Time to check outside. You pop open the top of the elevator and crawl out into the actual shaft of it, the elevator itself having stopped for the moment. This building's a little weird with the way it's set up. The only way down is via a number of elevators that seem to be separate from each other. In fact, you think it's almost intentionally designed, perhaps around something like this. You kind of contemplate a bit how fucked J City is that they would design their elevators as little, or their hotels as little mazes to avoid ease of exit. But you kind of get out to the top of the shaft and you start looking around and you investigate a bit. And sure enough,
I could have just used my stand to look here, but I'm already up here, so fuck it.
you kind of head out there. Stevens kind of hops around too, and just kind of like takes a moment to look around as you just, all right. Aha! Here. It's honestly a simple thing. Something you might have expected. Just in case there was a gunfight, there might have been, hidden somewhere around the elevator shaft, some sort of escape path or otherwise, or some way to get out of the building. You're looking for anything like that. Maybe something that could take a path around, just to figure out how he got out, if he was able to get out himself or he needed outside assistance. And yet, when you check this elevator shaft, you find nothing like that. In fact, what you find is some bullet casings instead. And, cutting back to the past, let me just drop you again. Oh no, you don't have vision. I need to fix that.
I have my eyes. They took my eyes.
They took your eyes. Yang.
Yes.
You're taking the elevator down. You would have liked to take different approaches, but it turns out the elevator was really the only option you had at a certain point. Besides, it happened smooth enough that for the most part, all you got to do is get down to the garage, and then you can make your heated escape. So long as the elevator goes smoothly as promised, everything should be fine. You just gotta basically act natural. And of course, though, oh, yeah, let me. All right, yeah. So, camera can see now. I think you're kind of sitting there, and you're like, just in case. You did set up a few extra things around the hotel, just in case you needed it. After all, you never really trusted in the promises and assurances of a clean exit on an assassination. And with a high-profile target like this, it's most likely going to be the case that never be too safe. And as you kind of contemplate on that a little bit, you hear some noises kind of tapping very lightly at the top of the elevator. It sounds like armored footsteps landing down on top of it. And your elevator comes to a halt. And in your mind, you basically just think, yep.
Can never be easy.
But you actually kind of contemplate on that a bit. Actually, it can be a little easy. Because you chose a day when it was storming really bad. So, as you prepare, first off, you pull out the submachine gun from your coat and just kind of aim it up. And would you like to fire at the roof?
Of course.
All right, make a bronze roll for me.
6 plus 5 plus 3 plus 1.
Yeah. All right, let me just roll for them real fast, though. Wait, actually. Let's... Okay. So, you aim up, fire, and you hear a scream as suddenly one person collapses against the roof. Suddenly, the top of it seems to burst down as two more figures start dropping down. And, Yang, give me an initiative roll. First fight back. And I'll remind you, it's raining outside, so everything you have can be summoned.
Okay. What's initiative again?
Initiative is 1d6 plus your bravery.
Oh yeah, bravery.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're fine. Meanwhile, let me roll this one too. Okay. Yeah. You go first then. All right
Why,
then.
hello
How
there.
does the two of them drop down, and they don't seem to. They kind of Well, actually, yeah. One of them stopped. I'll give you one chance to stand down immediately.
Young drops the machine gun, raises both of his hands. I surrender, and I will summon
Yeah, he's like,
Tail Rider right behind them.
he kind of seems surprised at that, like, oh, all right. He kind of starts moving up, get back against the wall, and
Off with their heads.
the moment that happens, suddenly from behind, both of them almost seem to splatter a bit. Blood seems to spill out from both of their necks as they both seem to hit the ground from behind. And with that, you hear a ding noise as the door kind of seems to open up behind you.
Before the door opens, I reach to their corpse. I take one of their flashbangs. I take off the pin. When the door opens, I throw the flashbang through the door, take cover, wait until it explodes, and then I will turn the corner with my machine gun ready.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, let's see. So, you throw that flashbang, it goes out the other side, you hear the flash, you turn, and let me just pop you there for a moment. You see a large array of people that have just kind of been surprised by it. Some of them seem to keep moving. It seems that their helmets have, to some degree, helped with block their vision from it. But the ones immediately in front of you seem to kind of recoil a bit as you peek through and start firing. Give me another roll. And as a reminder, your own rolls are that, but if you want to use your stand to attack, you can have your stand going with its own power, precision, or whatever it uses. Just consider what you think will be better depending on what you summon.
Pale Rider vanishes, and a mist forms around Yang as White Rider appears and starts disposing of the soldiers, freezing them solid.
All right, sounds good. You fire off a few shots forward, and let's say, I'll pop that there. You fire out, and let me just do a little. Okay, yeah, you managed to take out the immediate three in front of you. Emerging from the fog, arrows seem to fire and kind of pin them up against the walls. Frost sort of spreading out as suddenly the arrows just kind of almost appear out of thin air for these people. They don't even really see what penetrates them as suddenly ice starts to form around. There seems to be a shock confusion as one of them yells out, "We got a user!" And immediately, more fire seems to head out through the hallway, kind of piercing through in an attempt to get back at you. All right, I'm gonna roll. I'll roll an ad for all the people here. I'm also gonna mark that these are done. I want you to. How do you resist this massive amounts of fire?
Duck back into the elevator.
All right, yeah, that sounds good. So I'll say you can give me a bronze roll and add like a good +3 for that, because of like you're dealing with that.
Roll 20. Roll 20.
Roll
Please
20.
roll 20.
Oh, thank you. Roll 20. All right, so let me now roll for them. Let's see how they do. And then I got that much, so. Oh, wow, they suck ass. All right, that's fine. Yeah, you dodge back, and immediately pulling yourself back into the elevator, the bullets seem to resound and fly across the air. Some of them just kind of like move past White Rider as you pull yourself back into the elevator room for a moment, and then peeking back out again. It's your turn. Do whatever you wish.
I will reach into the corpse's gear again, pull out a frag grenade this time, start running forward, toss the frag grenade behind them, right, more or less around here, and start pressuring them with White Rider again.
All right, sounds good. So I'm gonna say that's if you wanted to have both of that happen, you could spend a bravery point, to get an extra action, so you and White Rider could do something this turn.
Wait a minute. Are these apartments?
They are not mapped, unfortunately. I mean, they're locked down. They've locked down the apartment buildings with super locks, and you can't open. No, they are
Okay.
apartment buildings. You could duck into them. There just would not be maps for them.
I just want to know what floor we are on.
You're up. Oh gosh, you're sure probably up like somewhere near the 20th floor or something like that. They seem to drop down in 10s. Every 10 floor, there's a different elevator across the way. It's very weird.
Okay. Okay. Then, in that case, instead of tossing the grenade, I will run forward and I will grab this corpse and drag it with me a little bit and have White Rider continue firing.
All right, sounds good. You pick up the corpse, kind of holding it, as White Rider continues firing, and you see arrows pierce through. Tiny little bits of droplets of blood kind of seem to flying out before the body freezes over as, again, you push on. 3 more falling in front of you. The 2 here, realizing they're incredibly outmatched, try to fall back now and move back inside of the elevator. You hear some form of chatter, but a bit too far away. Too many other screams to really hear for sure as the rest try to fall back into the other elevator.
Okay. I will dismiss White Rider.
All right.
And I will summon Red Rider inside the elevator with the target set as everyone inside.
All right. You keep dragging the body forward, and you hear...
I released the body. I just wanted to use it for cover in case they shot me.
Okay, no, that's super fair. Yeah, you let go and kind of start walking down the hallway, and... All right, this is the easy part. You hear more screams coming from the elevator as Red Rider continues onward, and you kind of think a bit, oh, wait, you realize you could probably pick up some nice grenades from these guys before you head out there. You got time, at least a little bit. Just get some nice treats.
I think I should grab like a satchel for grenades. That would be nice.
Maybe get some like water grenades. That'd be fun. No, that sounds too cheap. Yeah, you kind of ponder on ways you can increase your killing
Fighting
intent,
potential.
your fighting spirit potential, as you continue on and you can move to the elevator.
It doesn't attack me because the target is everyone inside the elevator.
Oh, it's done. You step on through and get ready and go over to click the elevator as Red Rider's ended its effect. And I need to.
Anyone in the ceiling?
You kind of consider that. You look up, think around, and you kind of pull yourself to the side, and you don't think there's anyone at the ceiling right now, no. Alright, you made a mess, so give me 1 moment. Hang on.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I insisted on the blood. I insisted on the 90s gore. It's my fault. Hang on.
You're making me play Yang, dude.
Yeah, no, I know. I was ready for it. I was prepared. I knew this was coming.
It's good to be back, baby.
We're back, and we're just as edgy.
Manslaughter Mac motorcycle.
And Manslaughter Mac motorcycle, but he hasn't gotten back to his motorcycle yet. We have to get there too. All right, let me just. Ooh, oh no! Everyone's upside down. Turn yourself face up. Turn yourself face up, Yang. There you go.
I passed out for a second.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Now, let me put the blood back.
I slipped on the blood.
You slipped on the blood. Yeah, you reach the next one and it pings again as suddenly another elevator shaft is in front of you. Let me grab this and reverse these. All right, there we go. Yeah, so you can head on through. You imagine there are more guys on the other side. You can hear the sound of movement through the elevator even from this point.
So while I was in this elevator ride, I don't know how long it's been, but I grab all the frag grenades that I grabbed from the bodies, and I kind of like take. I'll take one of the guards like close. I'm sure they have like a code or something. And I'm going to tie all the grenades I collected together into a huge bundle. And once the door starts opening, I will pull the pin of one, close the bundle, and toss it. Just fucking yeet that thing.
All right, yeah, sure thing. You open that door and you get ready and you just yeet some grenades out into the hallway. Give me a bronze roll there, plus of course your bronze, and give me an extra +3 because big grenades.
And
let's see. I got a roll for these guys. I got a couple of rolls coming, so let me just 1, 2, 3, 4. And yeah. All right. So yeah, you
these
toss
guys
it
managed to.
Yeah,
pull
completely
together.
beat it. No. You toss it through and it lands. You kind of toss through, move to the side, and it lands right here.
Man, I
And
love grenades.
the grenades are great. It lands right there, and there's a bit of a splatter and an explosion as the two in the center get pulped, but the ones on the top and bottom side end up getting kind of a bit injured, but are still kind of okay. So as they move forward, they kind of duck down a bit and raise up their guns and try to fire at you. And let me just do that then. +2, and then... All right, just beat a 7.
Can I use a stand?
Yes, you can. You can summon your stand in this instance and do that.
I would like to summon Pale Rider and have him help me dodge the bullets while I move forward.
All right, sounds good.
Do I roll speed?
Yeah, you can do the speed.
Do I add any bonuses?
No,
Add
just
a
the
trait
speed.
bonus?
Just the speed.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's see.
I pull a Made in Heaven and just zoom.
Yeah, let me see. You've got 4 guns trained on you that are going to fire. Let's see if that does anything. Oh, yeah, they actually do. So Pale Rider kind of pulls you along, but it's kind of like pulling a bit like, you know, a person, like a kind of a sack of bricks as you kind of get pulled forward and you get winged by 2 bullets that guns are scary and dangerous. Do 4 damage to you as you keep moving on forward. But at the same time, you do manage to get close enough to this guy as your turn begins.
Off with their hands.
You decide to, well, off with their heads it is then, yeah. Give me a stand roll then. Give me speed, since I think it's more of a question of how far you can get.
Big roll.
Oh, big roll. Yeah, you end up piercing both of these. The first one head comes off just as swiftly as you move, ending up pushing past this middle ground, and then Pale Rider then bursting up to the second one, slicing their head off in twain as well. You find yourself at the most dangerous barricade you've found so far, 2 tables that have been dragged out of rooms and assembled in front of you.
I've seen these end wars.
So, how do you... Well, actually, as you pull up there, it's their turn again. They pull out their own tech, your own tech against you as 2 grenades fly over the parapets and land in front of you. How will you resist this?
So, a scythe is kind of shaped like a golf club, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wonder if Pale Riders knows how to golf.
Let's see. Let's give it... Yeah, I think that would be precision, after all. Some good golf requires good precision. Okay, that's a pretty good golf. And I guess it'll just depend on beating their this. So let's see. Oh, okay. As you tossed it over, actually, I think I've got a good thing. Since this was about to happen, I'll just happen a little earlier. So, Pale Rider goes up with its scythe, getting ready to sweep like a golf club as you stand there waiting. And then, Pale Rider seems to disappear. and you frown a bit.
Maurice!
No, you think, what? And then immediately your instincts kick in, and you hop behind this body as grenade shrapnel flies out and deals 4 damage to you as you touch behind the body. And then in your brain, it's like, is it already done raining? Is it seriously already done raining? Why does it not rain so much in this city? What's this city's problem? You start to get really stressed out about this, but then you pull out your gun again and you look back at the rest. You still gotta get out of here.
Lock and loaded, baby.
You still have the most dangerous threat in front of you.
Yeah. Young will fucking run, jump in the wall, parkour in a way that he lands more or less around here, and just fucking
standing
destroy
straight
these
up.
dudes.
Yeah, all right. Make me a roll then. Let's see. Shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, you should be able to beat that pretty easy.
Not plus 56. Roll 20.
Nice. So yeah, you pop to the other side and land there, and almost with like the grace of a trapeze artist, you kind of stand straight up, holding 2 guns at your side, fire down to both sides as the last of your opposition on this floor perishes.
As the guns run out of ammunition, Young just discards them and takes the guards' guns.
You take the guards' gun, checking, getting their ammo, getting all that stuff as you make your way to the next set of floors. The next one should be sends you to the 10th.
Try to summon my stand just to make sure that it's really not raining anymore.
Yeah, you try to summon your stand and it doesn't pop out. It's not raining. You step on through the elevator, move up, click it, hold on to the gun, kind of just tap your foot again, waiting for this next spot to go down.
Never rains in J City, huh?
You think that, and you're like, all right, well, only got 1 more floor to go. And you get ready to, well, you're going to move a little more cautiously this time since you can't rely on your stand, but you're trained, so shouldn't be too much trouble. You move on through and kind of click, you hear it open, and the moment that the doors open, you hear a rattling and a spinning, and you immediately know what that sound is. It's a minigun and it's about to fire. So make me a bronze roll right now.
Oh, real quick, what floor am I in right now?
You're at the last elevator. The next one should take you down to the lobby on the other side of this hall.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna try to do.
Okay.
I will take my guns and I will aim where the elevator is connected to the cable and try to make it drop a floor.
Ah, I see. You think about it, and you're like, you know, I'd survive this. I could do this. You aim up and you fire, and you try to break the cord enough that you can drop the elevator down. The minigun starts firing, and you kind of fire in concert and do that. I'm gonna say if you spend a plots point, I'll make this happen.
Sure.
Yeah, all right. You spend that one, and you start fucking dropping down. Okay. Now, as a consequence of that, I want you to roll your bronze for me real quick. I almost said I want you to roll to die, but that's not what's happening. Let's see. I'm just gonna roll 2d6 for this. Yeah, just beat that. Okay, yeah. You managed to head down, and you're kind of prepared. You're like, okay. You prepare for the crash, move down these last few sets of stairs, or these last few floors, and kind of land down. The actual bed of this elevator wasn't too far down from here, so you kind of make the impact. The elevator almost seems to fall apart a bit, but you manage to successfully stumble your way out. As you do, there are some people surprised on the other side as emerging out. There's some smoke that seems to billow out from the elevator, and the guards on the other side, the last 3 positioned on this floor. Yeah, smoke. On the side, they're like, what the hell is this? They kind of raise up their guns.
The sprinklers?
You want it to?
Another
I
plot
think
point? I only have
another
3
plot
of
point.
those.
Yeah, I mean, come on, use it. It'd be fun.
I think it's still too early just to spend all my resources.
Alrighty, sure. So, yeah, the smoke billows out just enough where it seems that the fire alarms haven't gone off, but you do manage to kind of pull out, and the two look forward. The two guards here kind of look forward. Sounds like the minigun went off. Hey, you, check it out. This one carefully steps forward. God!
Runs here, shotgun to the chest.
Oh gosh, yeah. You run up and fire that shotgun straight. Okay, make me a roll.
Already did.
Oh yeah, I see that. Let me wait. Actually, I don't. Roll 20. Come on.
13.
Okay, thank you. They can't beat that. Yeah, you run on up, fire a shotgun and just blast this guy back. He stumbles about. Oh, I see why. Connection to the server has been interrupted. That's why I can't see it.
Classic CI.
Classic CI. Let's go. All right, I'm gonna refresh, and you do the same, and we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's like I'm back in 2018, baby.
Yeah. Oh man, this is.
I truly do believe that I am the harbinger of technical problems.
Yeah. The secret of Black Rider. All right, are you back in?
I am.
I am too. Let me see. Can you see me moving, Yang?
Yes.
All right. You move up, blast this guy back across the couch. He stumbles back over as the shotgun just splays him out, and he stumbles back and hits the table. The others react and start yelling out for any sort of reinforcements over their headsets. However, that time has long passed. They have to fight you themselves, and they raise up their guns and try to fire as quick as they can.
I'm behind a pillar.
Yeah, and no, don't even roll. You win. You hide behind the pillar, and you can fire in your turn now.
Okay. Young will come here. He will grab this dude by his fucking neck protection. He will toss him over here so that he and his buddy are lined up. And shotgun.
Okay, sounds good. Make me that roll then. Should just be this guy, so you just gotta beat a 7 again. I really like that number. Okay, yeah. You grab this guy and almost like with all of your strength, you pull him forward and toss him over at the counter, and he kind of splays out there, looking up and raising his gun. But then the shotgun blast rings off, and both of them just seem to splay out across into the reception area. As you stop and you turn around and kind of stumble out of the smoke, all of this happened while you were holding your breath. So you immediately breathe out some air and kind of stumble forward a bit, and you see it over there. That's the garage where your bike's located.
I would like one room, please.
Fucker. Yeah, you stumble forward and like, all right, time to get my bike and get out of here. And the reinforcements they called in shows up. You hear the sound of a sliding door opening out near the front of the lobby as a jacketed, masked individual seems to stumble on into the room. They stare at you.
Okay, while this is happening, can I shoot the sprinklers?
Yes. This time I will let you just get that as a setup. As they turn, and there's a split moment where your eyes meet the mask. And in every moment here, you notice basically, despite even seeing the eyes, without even seeing any sort of facial features or any sort of muscular movements at all, you feel a connection with this individual. In the means that the moment that you two see each other, both of you raise up very similar looking shotguns and prepare to fire at each other. There is no diplomacy here. This man is trained in arts very similar to you. You duck down behind the fountain and aim up and fire at the sprinklers. And yeah, the sprinklers will start coming down. Actually, I have an asset for this. I don't know if it'll load well, but yeah. You aim up and fire at the sprinklers. And the sprinklers start coming down. I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but yeah. It's raining in here now. All right, okay, so you're on initiative first, so Whatever you
Hell
want to
yeah,
do.
I am.
That's so. I'll explain something else. Now that we're in like a actual combat, which also, the elevators, the garage is right over there, so fleeing is an option, but you could fight him now. But now that we're in an actual combat, let me explain something. You have two actions: a main action and a secondary action. Main actions can only be used to initiate like contests, like fighting. Well, they can be used for anything, but secondary actions cannot be used for that. So, aiming up and fire at the sprinklers, which are just an environmental item, is something you can do for a secondary action. So, since it's your turn, you still have your actual main attack. You basically get one thing you can use to engage a contest, and one thing you can use just to affect your environment.
Yeah. Okay. I just reread, is that right? Whatever. I just reread my character sheet, and I just remembered what my stance do. Young will step out of the corner and immediately... Now, before he steps out of the corner, he will bring out Pale Rider. And as Pale Rider do, it creates a 40-foot diameter cloud of thick fog.
Yeah. It almost spills out immediately. Rain and fog seems to spill over the entire area as vision is blocked pretty heavily. It's a close quarters brawl now, but both of you have shotguns.
Young, with the layout of the place in mind, will run behind this pillar.
Alright, sounds good. So, you've summoned your stand and broke the sprinklers, so now it's his turn. And you hear some movement heading on into them. And another mechanic for Yangra. We only used them a few times before we went on break, but you know what a bizarre field is, right?
Hell yeah, I do.
Alright, so yeah, I don't need to explain why you're not going to see this roll then. Alright, let's see.
The best mechanic.
Alright, I want you to make a bronze roll. You can add a +3 due to this pillar for it.
Roll 20, please. Roll the dice, roll 20.
Roll 20, please. Don't do this to me, roll 20.
14, yes, baby.
You fucking beat it by 1, you piece of shit. Alright, yes, so, you basically, alright, cool. I'm behind here, you're behind the pillar, and you kind of pull yourself forward, but then immediately jut back as a shotgun barrel flies around the corner and fires off, and you kind of duck behind, and then also sort of like fire around this side of it, which you see at least one of the expended bullets fly into the thing's back as he stumbles forward. And now it's your turn.
The fog lifts.
Alright, it does.
Creating even more rain.
Now an actual rain seems to spill out into this room beyond just the sprinklers. The figure seems to kind of look up at that for a few moments and then turn its head back down facing the pillar. Now, what would you like to do?
Swish.
Swish? Alright.
Swish.
Give a swish then. And I will secret swish this guy.
Ah, come on.
Ah, okay. Let me just... Alright, so, you go into swish, and, as you do that, the figure seems to, like, double forward. As Pale Rider goes in for a swish, you're expecting him to be there, but immediately after checking, he almost brazenly jumps ahead and kind of turns around the corner and raises up his gun and fires a shotgun blast. You actually stumble back across the pillar, as with no real self-ability, you could have just shot him. That was a really risky move. At the same time, he did catch you off guard. You stumble back, shotgun shells being blasted into your vest. You feel bones, well, you swear you've got at least one broken rib after that one as you stumble back and take 10 damage.
I'm gonna reduce that by 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe you want to do that. You can spend a bravery and reduce that by 5.
other uses do I have for bravery again?
You can use an extra main
Never
action.
mind. I have it written down here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that was your turn actually. So when his turn comes around, he with secondary action will duck behind this pillar, and then from that you hear a very, very familiar click sound, the click of a pin coming off of a grenade. What would you like to do in response?
Okay. Let me think. What can Young do again?
He can do anything it puts his mind to.
Okay.
You wanna?
I will take. No, I'm gonna counter grenade this fucker.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, go for it.
Multiple destruction assured. Not 32, roll 20. 14!
14. Oh, wow, yeah. You counter grenade him. Okay, describe what happens then. How do you counter this grenade into your own grenade? Tell me
Do I
what
win?
you do. Yes, you do. You win.
Okay, as he is turning the corner to toss the grenade, Young throws the grenade over his shoulder and starts to dash. The dude throws the grenade, and the two grenades collide in the air, making them stop right around here as Young runs the fuck away.
Yeah, that happens, and you hear a detonating boom as two grenades go off right right under him, and you continue making your way off into the garage. A spray behind you of water and grenade shrapnel as you keep running. And as you go, you make it to the garage, and you start.
One of these motherfuckers popped the tire of my bike. I'm gonna be so mad.
Oh no, don't worry. Your bike's in pristine condition. And with that, you rev it up, roll out of the hotel's garage, and break past the startup of the barricade they started to try to form, and break on into the highway. And as you head back on the highway, don't scream at me, because you're back.
Back in black.
You roll out into the highway, starting to move at increased speed as you're like, okay, time to go. You roll out. You've got to basically lie low for a bit. There's going to be any confusion. You've been spotted. Their initial plan to get you out, or kind of like, and they did honestly a shitty job of getting you out of there. But I mean, at least you got out. So now, tell me what's Yang's plan now that the assassination is successful? What's your next step? Where are you going to try to hide out? What are your plan on that front?
Leave the city, at least. Well, not leave the city, just do a really roundabout way of like leaving the city, going back in, doing a loop through the outskirts of the city, just trying to lose heat as much as possible.
Yeah. You want to basically make yourself unavailable for a time and then come back in afterwards. That's basically part of the plan. That so when you hopped onto the highway, you were going to head out and just make that basically the reality for you.
I look at my back mirror.
Yeah. Oh, you look at your back mirror?
Yeah, I look at my back mirror.
You start rolling forward and you see another light from your back mirror. Another singular light following you. And as you kind of piece that together, you're like, no, that shouldn't be right. Hang on. And then you start piecing it together in your head. As you keep rolling up, you put some pedal on the gas immediately as your mind tries to piece together what exactly is going on. Excuse me, Pale Rider's not out here yet. Unless the rain clouds followed you.
Yeah, of course. Actually, if I'm trying to lay low, I probably would have.
Yeah, you
stopped the
that rain
cloud following me.
Yeah. You're rolling on the streets, and as you go, you see something else.
Higher on the beat.
You. Oh, deja vu. You you find yourself, you're a bit in awe. You are one who channels the riders of the apocalypse, and yet behind you, you see another rider. Motorized, moving,
Lowrider.
and also shut the fuck up. Also at the same time, moving with death at its back. As you remember, that's right. You didn't see them. You saw a shower of water, a shower of shrapnel. Definitely on that location, but no blood. As moving from behind you, that same lone follower, that same follower, ends up approaching on a bike. I want you to roll for initiative again, Angra.
Let's fucking go.
All right, that's one. And let's see. Oh, you guys tie. I'll give it to you. So, this rider is coming up straight from behind you.
They lost what's the name of the field? Fucking menace.
Yes, they
Field.
didn't. No, that was initiative though. I'm not on the initiative. They get to have their things available. Like you know what you get to know where the boss goes in the initiative order.
Okay.
So yeah. You're rolling forward and following straight behind. This bike seems to follow you with intensity. None of the other pursuers seem to have caught up at the same time, but this person is just they're moving forward with a ferocity that is honestly a little weird. And you start piecing together, and maybe this is the stand user that you were talking about. Whatever it is. You kind of draw forward on your bike. What do you do?
Really wish it was raining right now. Okay, describe the road to me.
All right. The road is laid out. It seems that their part of the bargain was pretty fair. This road had been shut down for maintenance, basically, and is closed off. Which means that the road ahead of you is very clear. Just you followed in the back by this. Far off, you seem to see some helicopters moving around the hotel area, but no one seems to be coming after you. It's pretty clear, open, and, well, you've got an open range for yourself. As long as you keep moving at the speed you're going at, it should be fine. You just need to be careful about making sudden movements.
I really wish it was raining right now. Pedal to the metal. Let's fucking go.
Alright, in that case, I think motorcycle racing is an act not of bronze, but of bravery. So I want you to give a bravery competition between you and this guy.
And I add my trait Speed Demon, which never came up in the original CI.
No, but now it can.
Let's fucking go.
All right. All right, you managed to pull ahead. It's still falling behind, but you get a much more decent lead on him as you continue biking down this path. And when his turn comes, you hear, well, unmistakably, gunshots start firing from behind you. However, because you managed to succeed on that, you got Speed Demon bonus for this. So maybe you roll there and see what happens. All right. You managed to avoid the bullets, kind of moving forward with speed. It doesn't seem to be shooting so accurately. As he moves up, this present continues to shadow you, ever slowly but ever consistent. This thing seems to match your speed, slowly, surely, catching up over time as you feel a presence building from behind as this form seems to just approach more and more, and you check the rearview mirror and you see bullet holes have formed within its vest and body, and
I would like
to
monologue.
All right, monologue, yeah.
This fucking thing. It's chasing me down. It works similarly to Red Rider. so it's probably an automatic stand. It seems to be damaged by shrapnel and bullets, though, so maybe the suit itself isn't the stand. Or maybe it's an integrated stand. I'm gonna say it's an automatic stand for now.
You say that, and you kind of come to that conclusion, and your monologue's correct. You reduce its bizarre field by 1. You are the only combatant. It only had a bizarre field at 1. It's kind of obvious. This is an automated stand, and you thought for a second, it seems to be affected by bullets, but no. Actually, you kind of quickly, on your side, you kind of knock open a grenade, toss it back, and let it ride on the road, and it seems to blow up next to the bike as it kind of swerves to the side of it. But then he kind of turns back on the path, going forward, and the helmet seems to fall off. And in front of you, you see the true form. The entire body seems to shift and move a bit on the bike. Different tendrils kind of piercing around on the bike itself and moving even more. This thing absolutely is an automated stand. And as you look at it, it wasn't damaged at any point during those bullets. In fact, it only seems to be pursuing you ever the more intensely. The stand seems to click onto the bike, grabbing at doing something a bit concerning. It seems to grab guns and fires at you. This is actually a really good idea. Why have you never thought of doing this?
Giving a gun to a stand. Oh no, that's an idea.
Alright, I want you to make a roll. Now you get to see what it's doing. Just... And there. And that. Oh, fuck. Oh, boy.
I can't beat this.
Oh, but you can reduce damage, so...
Yeah.
Alright, you take... So, it fires forward, and you feel yourself moving as suddenly some bullets pierce around. You manage to avoid them impacting your bike, but one hits you right in the back. Lower back, actually, kind of where your gut is, and you feel that intense pain as it manages to hit to the back of your vest and almost knock you off your bike. You swerve a bit, scrape your leg on the ground as you barely manage to kind of pull yourself to the side and get moving again as this thing continues its pursuit. Do you want to reduce any damage there, or you want to keep that? That'll be 8.
I'm at 15. I'm gonna spend 2 braveries to nullify the damage. Can I do that?
Sure thing. Yeah. In which case, this pain. It is intense, but at the same time, your vest took the blow. Your leg, a bit banged up, but you are still capable of moving forward. None of this is lethal. None of this will stop you. Your bike still functions, your will is still strong, and you will not let this thing catch up to you. This was the mission, after all. You continue pulling forward as the stand continues trying to hunt you from behind. And, with that in mind, as you push forward with that focus, that ability to keep going, you feel something. You feel something building on your hands. Is it sweat? No, it's not sweat. In fact, what's happening now is the opposite of something that makes you want to sweat. This is rain. A temperamental storm coming back to benefit you in the time you most need it. Perhaps you're not so unlucky after all. As rain starts to pull down upon the roads. However...
Looks like the tables have turned. Oh no.
Yeah. There is a practical concern you start to feel. I should probably be careful when I'm swerving. The rain will most likely start screwing with my ability to actually drive. But the rain starts pouring, and it's your turn.
Okay. So one may expect me to maybe use Pale Rider to get some mist in the way, or White Rider to shoot it and stop its charge. What I'm gonna do instead is send Red Rider face first into this fucking thing.
Alrighty, let's see how it happens then. Give me a Red Rider roll then.
Stands don't get any modifiers, right?
Unless you have a trait that helps.
I mean, I do.
Add that trait then.
Yay. 13.
All right. So let me roll for this thing then.
And you over, motherfucker.
Now that the Bazaar field's down, let me activate its villainous action.
Oh.
This is the villainous action of this thing. And all right, you basically the villainous action. Every time that this stand is defeated or encountered, every next encounter you have with it, it gets an additional +1 to all of its rolls as its hunt gets ever closer and ever more fierce. So, for every roll in this combat, since you already encountered it once, it's gonna get a -1 to this fight. So let's see what happens. Okay. So, Red Rider pushes
I'm gonna
forward.
spend a thing
oh.
to reroll my 1.
Yeah, you could reroll the 1 and the 3 if you wanted.
I mean, the 3 is average. I could roll fucking lower.
That's
or
true.
do I keep the
All you
higher
gotta
roll?
Well, yeah, all you really have to do is get another 3 to clash, or get a 4 to win. Up to you, make your choice. You can also spend again if you want. You can re-roll a number of times on rolls.
I'm just gonna reroll the 1.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. Alright,
Yes!
you clash! So that means time for both of us to re-roll.
Escalation!
Escalation time!
It can't be an Angra game without escalations.
Yeah,
let's
see.
go.
Oh! Okay. All right. Oh fuck. All right. Let me see real quick. I need to calculate damage. That's 12 doubled to 24. Okay. It's going to spend 4 bravery points to reduce that. You knocked it down to 1, and you still do 4 damage to it as you push in. Red Rider moves up, and as you approach, it moves with such ferocity as it goes. It realizes in a moment, wait a minute. Its brain, whatever it has, seems to process, at least in a moment, what it needs to catch you. That's the only intellect this thing can have. So when it sees Red Rider go low and almost cut the bike, it has no choice but to try to swerve, which, in a similar vein, Red Rider only has one purpose: to attack this thing. And similarly, Red Rider understood the best way to do that was to get it to come into its attack. This action, this double-sidedness, this ultimate intellectual display between intellectualist beings results in Red Rider basically just cutting into this thing while it tries to sacrifice some of its own form to protect the bike on pursuit. As a few of the tendrils inside of this thing is chunked off, spilling off and disintegrating onto the road as it swerves around and keeps coming at you. Red Rider then, moving past again, is kind of like, it's almost a 3-way race. You're moving, it's moving, and Red Rider's moving now too.
Okay.
And now it's turn, as beginning to move up closer, the bike starts picking up speed with ferocity. It's moving at speeds where if it wiped out, this would kill any human. But obviously, it doesn't care about that. As it approaches, gets up right behind you, and you hear the sound of these slithering tendrils flying forward, attempting to smash into your back and cut through your vest. Let's see how it does. And bam! Ooh, okay. This isn't guns though, so this won't double if you're hit.
Yeah. Let me see what can I do to counter that.
You can summon another rider.
Yeah, I can. I'm just calculating what is the best option here.
Black Rider!
Black Rider! Bad ending. Time paradox. Snake, what have you done? You created a time paradox.
I don't get how a skeleton with 2 machine guns would cause a time paradox, dude. It sounds fine.
Okay. What I'm gonna do is the following. As it is close, can I dismiss Red Rider as a free action?
Mm-hmm.
I will dismiss
That
Red
can be a
Rider as a
secondary
free action.
Alrighty.
And I will deploy White Rider the side where it can't be hit because it has either ability.
All right.
And I will fire at this thing in such a way that will reduce its speed.
Okay,
Because
sure.
that sure is an ability White Rider has. It drops.
Does. So
Every hit
basically,
it lands, it drops your speed rank by 1.
so your way to counter is a precision roll against this thing to try to basically stop it from catching up to you in time to hit you.
Yeah.
All right, sure, sounds good. Then yeah, aim up and fire, and we'll see what happens.
Oh boy.
Ooh, yeah. So you fire, and the arrow flying through manages to hit this thing. It kind of hits against the bike a bit and forces it to pull back as a part of its body fuses. The wheels kind of click a bit as the tentacles slam into the bike and start chipping off the ice from the motorcycle at an intense amount of speed, where it really starts pulling back. And at first you almost think you've actually left him behind, but then very quickly the bike whirls back to speed and starts trying to make its way back. And now it's your turn.
Let's keep firing.
All right.
Maybe I should give a machine gun. No, it's a stand.
You can't do that. Not yet.
Ah.
All
Not
right.
that great.
Well, let's see. Okay. So. Okay. I'm gonna have this thing burn a learning point. In this distance, it kind of looks and it sees between you and your stand, and in its mind, something seems to go. You almost feel this thing for a moment. Not in any sort of empathetic way, but in just a way of understanding killing intent. This thing looks between you and it understands it needs more. It can't just kill you with what it has. Its own set is not good enough. It needs to adapt, to learn. And that way, it had those guns. Those worked pretty well. If only it could do that further. And it realizes perhaps it can. As suddenly the size around it seems to spin a bit, and it almost seems to start moving in a fashion where it starts swinging its size, and the actual tendrils seem to wither away and die at the edge of it as its size moves forward, flying directly at White Rider. Because he rolled a burned a learning for this, his first usage of the ability will be free. It always succeeds at max. So that means that
I'm about to die.
it's gonna be 19, yeah. So you're gonna take 6 damage from this as flying out, size impact against White Rider and knock him back. Alrighty then, so take 6 damage and you'll be good to go. That'll be its turn.
This fucking thing. Okay.
Be prepared to enter a world stranger than you have ever imagined.
Let me
A
think.
world of witchcraft, magic, and ritual.
It tails behind, moving and slowly trying to pull the distance between. You see more tendrils begin to regenerate and emerge out from its form after that. It seems to be able to replenish those things, so it won't be out for long as it keeps approaching from behind. However, the rain still comes
Out with the White Rider.
All right.
Back with the red one.
All right. Second verse, same as the first. Go in for the hit.
Can I also do a secondary action?
Yes.
Oh wait, dismissing my stand.
Yeah,
is already
yeah.
right.
So there you go. All right. So then, make me that Red Rider roll.
I'm a ram into you.
Oh, damn. Okay, yeah. So you go in to ram this thing, and as you do, let me look actually. All right, it's gonna use its last bravery point to reduce this by 5. So that means that you're only gonna do 4 damage to it, but you managed to move in, and Red Rider this time. What order did you exactly get Red Rider to? Let me know that.
Run him through.
All right, cool. And in that case, Red Rider charges forward, and the sword aims straight forward, almost jousting, pierces through this thing and comes out the other side. You see a blast of the strange energy of the stand fall away, as long as with a bit of its shell, as a lot of that falls to the side, and more of its tendrils focus more on driving than attacking you. This thing is pushing through, but it's on its last leg. You can't imagine this thing's able to move any further. It can't. It has to be down soon. It's what you reason in your head as you keep driving. And its turn comes. And you notice as you keep driving, you check the rearview mirror again. You're almost to an exit. But as it goes, you notice, wait, what is that? No, it's not. It is not gripping the bicycle for stability. No, this thing does not need stability. It itself, as a stand, by its very nature, does not follow the rules of physics quite as well as every human does. After all, this stand is something beyond normal. This stand is a hunter. An automated hunter after your life. So even on the brink of death, it will always prioritize that goal. Its tendrils reach down. It's peeling off superfluous parts of the bike to toss them at your bike. That's what it's going to do. So we're going to see how that goes. Let's see if that
So
works.
this is not a stand attack, right?
No, this is not. Well, actually, yes, it is, because he's using the stand is using these as projectiles. So I want you to make me a roll now. Bronze roll. Ooh, fuck. Also, that should be a 13. It ended up not being there. Oh, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of damage potentially.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh wow! Hey, pretty all right. You'll take 2 damage from this then. As you feel the pelting of motorcycle bits against your bag. One of them almost gets caught in your wheel, and you kind of have a freak out moment as you're moving forward, panting heavily as you ride on the road. It is, however, your turn.
I just remembered one thing, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
One very important thing that came up on episode 5 and never again.
Oh,
But in the action economy, I get to act with my stand and do an extra action.
So that
But automatic
Up.
stands.
automatic
stands
act on
do
their
not
own.
count
They do act on
as
their own.
an action of mine. So I will. Red Rider will run it through before I do anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Red Rider, get that roll then.
To enter a world stranger than you have
Oof!
ever imagined.
Let's see how it does.
World of witchcraft, magic, and ritual.
2 ones, baby.
Okay, Red Rider is knocked backwards as tendrils keep the kind of just keep it at bay, slashing back at it and avoiding getting it a good hit, and as it continues to like swing its sword behind, chasing rapidly. But this is exactly where you wanted it to be. Distracted, facing an opponent behind it. And now, the second phase of your plan activates.
Red Rider vanishes. It's time to shoot!
Alright, give me that roll.
Good.
Oh no! You want to re-roll? You want to re-roll that?
Yeah, fuck it, I'll re-roll. It can be worse.
No, it can't. It absolutely can't. There's no way it'll
Can
be
be
worse.
worse.
Probability, it's really good. It's actually good. Shit. Oh, hang on. Let me see. Okay.
I think I'm out. I'm out of bravery. Thanks.
Okay.
No.
Let's see. So, that's just enough. You fire the arrow and pierce straight into the bike. It was only able to defend itself, but the bike was made vulnerable. As the bike's engine freezes over, and suddenly the thing just seems to spurt, and with a crash, he just starts sliding back way outside of your range as you kind of keep rolling on the road. You've got time. You can keep moving. You start pulling ahead, and then you shadow over your head as immediately ahead of you, something crashes on the road. Despite being removed, this bike's only purpose now was as a projectile. It lands immediately in front of you, and you immediately swerve to the side, trying to pull yourself away from it. But this only results in you spilling off the highway. Let me just get another map ready.
I can't believe Young died.
Can't believe Yang flew off a highway at max speed and died. All right, so let me just get this stuff. All right. He fell off into the sand.
You guys are terrible.
All right, there we go. That's good enough.
Bum, 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 bum.
All right, so let me see. This might be a little broken, but we'll see what happens. So, Yang, you are barely you fly off of the highway, and honestly, like you barely manage to basically stop your own death from occurring as you fly off, and White Rider, who was still available because of the rain, thank God it was raining, is able to basically fire a shot and kind of like fire and freeze you up into the well, basically knock your bike away for a moment, separating you from it, and then you fall into the gentle hands of Pale Rider, who immediately drops you onto the floor and then disappears. You find yourself laying down, face up, staring up at the rain.
What a shitty job.
It really is a shitty job. And unfortunately, it's only just begun, but you kind of start sitting up a bit. Let me get something playing, by the way. Hang on. Should have had this playing the whole time, but you stand up, and while in the rain, you kind of stumble forward. Even landing in Pale Rider, that still hurt, and you're banged up a bit. You go over and check up on your bike and frown at the bike's currently wrecked, destroyed state on the edge of this sidewalk near the canal. You take a moment to soak that in with the rain, and then you start to piece together in your mind, where are you gonna go next? You gotta figure that out. You kind of start piecing together, God, you know, X Japan's got some form of something or other in this town. Might be able to check there. You start running through your head, basically kind of moving forward a bit carefully, but still moving forward assuredly. This job has only just begun, and for your sake and Yin's, you need it to end flawlessly. So, with that, Yang takes steps off further into J City. And following from behind at a different time, someone inspects around where that bike crashed all that time ago.
That sure caused a huge ruckus. Road was empty. Someone closed it off. They gave it an excuse. It was around here, if I remember
Oh yeah,
correctly.
it's been chopping for me too. Let me just do some stuff real quick. Music's a bit choppy for me as well. Keep going though.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, it's still chopping. What the fuck?
All right, everyone refresh.
Everyone refreshed.
I'll lead you
I
back.
sure love Roll20, you guys.
I love CI. CI is the best. All right, just so I can make things a little clearer, the rain seems to have died down a bit since you last checked, and as you step, you notice that same spot the bike fell, and I'll lead you back in with it now. There you go.
If I remember correctly, it was around here. The road was closed off. They waved it off with some excuse for it. In truth, the killer in that hotel escaped with his bike, and something chased him. He could probably have shook off any normal pursuer, but he was forced to do an emergency landing, I suppose. That wasn't funny.
Stevens doesn't laugh, but Stevens generally doesn't laugh at any joke you tell. Stevens is, after all, a cat. You kind of ponder for a moment, and yeah, looks like it checks out. J-City does a terrible job at repairing places like these, and there was still a few banged up boards and otherwise, and yeah, the casing too. Everything seems to line up. The assassination went, well, it succeeded. It was a little messy. You kind of start to wonder, though. This was a case where JamiroCorp is absolutely involved. You can piece that together. But then again, that was something you guessed years ago anyways. The entire nature of the case, everything around the assassination of the old JamiroCorp president, that was all something you figured out. But this individual, this Yang, he's the one that still remains a little strange to you. Someone like that, someone who does something like that, has to be remembered somehow.
You are the key to this mystery, little ghost. I'm gonna figure you out.
You resolve that as, sitting on your shoulder, Stevens just kind of seems to look out a bit, gazing off into the canal a bit, and you begin stepping off. Stevens' attention seems to be grabbed at something, though, and you're kind of like, Stevens is a cat. This is all true, but he's also your partner. And so occasionally you let yourself fall to his whims and you turn over and gaze in that direction. And yeah, something strange about this place. You were thinking about it earlier, but what about this feels off? As you look, you feel almost something fall over the place a little bit, just for a moment. This kind of strange, almost transient feeling around the entire area. It feels like there's something missing. Not in a way a detective can figure out. Not a missing piece of a puzzle that means you can figure it out and be solved, but quite literally, something's been removed. That puzzle piece doesn't exist on the board anymore. This is something you've already been dealing with, the way everything seemed to disappear around the city. It's so hard to even find footage of the people that have been talked about.
That toaster bitch.
Stevens kind of hops off your shoulders for a bit. Yeah, be more specific, by the way. There's a lot of those. No. You kind of, Steven seems to hop off your shoulders and almost seems to immediately start sprinting off in this direction. And you kind of, like, contemplate for a second. You want to follow?
Yeah.
You give chase, following your companion off, leaving this mysterious area
Cigarette.
behind. Cigarette, ready to go. And as you walk off along the side of the canal, you leave with the one piece of evidence you can get from here, leaving it just 1 second later, or 1 second earlier, than the time where this final piece of evidence of this spot would have faded forever into obscurity. But, despite that, you feel resolved to push forward. The next step to finding Yang, to finding your targets, ever forward, ever closer, is while the leads are so few, and the individual known as Yang no longer exists, the symbols of his passing and his legacy, they still remain. All right, so that went a lot quicker than I thought. I overestimated this combat system. It's actually a lot smoother than I thought it would be. I forgot. Damn. Nice.
That felt great.
I'm glad that felt super good. I really enjoyed you playing both of them. I'm glad you got back into it super good as well. Also, J-Man, if you want to call the recording there, we should be good.